Good morning. I was going to start this video by saying I really hope I see a bear today on the trail, but I've actually already seen two on the drive in. I got a little bit of footage for both, but I don't think you'll be able to see them very well. They darted off the road very quickly, but let's try it and see. Here it comes. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a bear right there in the tree line. I'm trying to get some video of it. He's looking at me. You see him? I don't know if you can see this. I'm not even on the trail yet, but there's a bear walking across. Alright, now let's start the video. If you need directions on how to get here to the trail, those will be coming up in just a few seconds. Otherwise, just skip ahead to the actual beginning of the video. But anyway, directions will be coming up right now. Well, I'm headed back to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park in Tennessee. And as usual, I'm coming from the Maryville-Alcoa City area. And you will pass through the small town of Townsend. And when you come up here to the Townsend Y, you want to go to the right towards Cades Cove. If you bear to the left, that takes you back towards Gatlinburg. We're going to go to the right for the trail that we are hiking today. Alright, so it takes about 10 minutes to get to this point from the Townsend Y. And you can park either on the left or the right. Here to the right is Turkey Pen Ridge. That was the first video that I did. It's about an hour long, and it is just way too long. I would not suggest watching that whole thing, but you can definitely fast forward through at that video. But I'm pulling over here to the right for the trail that we're going to do today and park, and I'll catch up with you here just in a minute. Welcome back. So today I will be hiking, it's actually a combination of 3 trails, also known as the Triangle of Death. I'm just kidding, I made that up. The last time we hiked this, about 15 minutes in, we saw a bear. My wife was not really thrilled about it, but anyway, we're gonna start. Let me pan around here so you can see. Last time I did this trail, I went Finley Cane to Bote Mountain Trail and then ended up on Lead Cove, so it makes a triangle. But it's about 2.5 miles in on the first section of Finley Cane, which we saw a bear about 15 minutes in, so pretty much set the tone for the day. But it was 2.5 miles in on a very narrow trail with, like I said, we saw the bear. It's very quiet, kind of eerie. And then we hit Bote Mountain Trail for another 2 miles, and that was straight uphill the entire way. And then we finished coming right back down here on Lead Cove Trail. I hope it's Lead Cove and not Lead Cove, but I'm gonna say Lead. But and we came down this way, which has some water and some scenery or whatever, which was really nice. So today I'm gonna try to go backwards on this, but just to give you an idea of how far we are. I'm parked right there. There's Finley Cane where you come out, and Lead Cove right here beside each other. So depending on which direction you go, they come out at the same spot, so you can take either one. Let me pan back around to this real quick. Can't ever tell off on the GoPro how well it's going to show up, but anyway, so we're going to get started. There's already some traffic going up to Cades Cove, which is what I would expect early on a Sunday morning, and there's somebody else already hiking, which is a good sign. But the last time we hiked this, we only saw maybe like 2 or 3 people. And again, it was, I didn't have my GoPro, so I wanted to do this trail one more time and get some video footage of it so you know what this one looks like. But it's a good one if you want something around the 7 to 8 mile mark because you can park and go around it and come right back to where you started, which sometimes that's pretty difficult to do. But anyway, I'm gonna switch back over to the chest cam, and I am using my external microphone this morning in hopes to knock down some of the background noise that when I've got it mounted to my chest, I'm trying to find the best way to get rid of that. So let's try the external microphone again, and hopefully that will be a little better. But let me switch over back to the chest mount and we'll get started. All right, so as I mentioned, this is Lead Cove Trail. I think it's like 1.8 miles. We'll call it 2, just to make math simple. 2 miles in, we're gonna hit Bote Mountain Trail, make a left, go for about 2.5 miles or so, maybe 2. Can't remember, I think maybe it is 2. And then we'll hit Finley Cane on the way back out. And so it gives us round trip about 7 miles total. So pretty good hike. We did this, my wife and I did this one earlier in the year, but that was before I started filming with the GoPro, and I'm trying to go back and catch up some of the trails that we've done. She did not particularly like this trail, so that's why I'm doing this one by myself today. I typically don't want to do a trail this long by myself, but I told her where I was going to be and how I was going to do the trail and about what time I should be back, so she is aware. And so I feel like this is going to be primarily uphill the first part, and so you probably hear my breathing pick up if I would just slow down. But and I'm using the external microphone today, hopefully to knock down some background noise. But I apologize, my train of thought's a little rattled today because I was hoping I was going to see a bear, but typically the only time I see one is when my wife's with me. So I thought there's no way I'm going to see one today, even though I felt like this was a really good trail to see one. And on the drive in, I saw 2 already. They were smaller. They looked like they were probably both under a year old, and they were crossing the road. And but man, they move so fast. If you don't have your camera ready to go, you'll miss it. I tried to snap a couple pictures and they were in the woods before I could even do anything. So I'll put I think I posted the video of both on here, but I doubt you'll be able to see anything. This GoPro, I'm not able to zoom in, so it's a little frustrating. But anyway, hopefully I got some footage of it. But if I remember correctly, this part of the trail will come up to like a mountain stream, so there are some little places to stop and take some pictures, which I think that's why most people probably take this part of the trail first. I did it backwards last time, and I mean, we hadn't been walking for 15 minutes or so when we came across our first bear, and kind of freaked my wife out. So I'm glad that really she's not with me today, because seeing those 2, she probably would have turned around. She probably would not have wanted to do this trail at all, because that last one we saw was right there where I parked. So anywho, like I said, both of them were pretty small, and they just ran across and got back in the woods. But I'll keep my eyes open. Hopefully I'll see another one today and we can get some video footage of it. But I'll film a little bit more when we get up here to where the water area is, and you can kind of see what that looks like. Well, I definitely hear some kind of a bird. She's probably telling me to get the heck out of here. There's bears everywhere. What are you doing, idiot? But we'll see. So here's a little water crossing. Looks like just some runoff. But anyway, I'll show you some of the water up here in just a minute. Well, I can hear some water, so I think we're close. Looks like maybe our first decent water crossing, but there's really not any here. A little bit. Nice mountain stream. Water's low, so it could be worse, but plenty of rocks to cross. Make sure to watch your step. And then continue back uphill. I knew the incline was gonna be bad, at least in one section, since last time when we came up. So let me start over and tell you on this trail. We started on Finley Cane last time, 2.5 miles. Pretty dense, single file trail. Oh, here's some water. We see a bear, keep walking, don't see anybody that entire 2.5 miles. Don't hear anything, no birds, no insects, very creepy. Felt like somebody was watching you the whole time, which I know was just our imagination. We get off onto Bote Mountain Trail, which is much wider and much nicer trail. But man, it was like 2 miles straight uphill. I mean, we'd already went 2.5, so trying to do that in the second leg of the hike, I mean, my heart felt like it was about to explode. But anyway, we made that, and then we finished by coming down this one. But there was a thunderstorm rolling in, so we were moving pretty fast. So I don't remember that much about this particular trail on the way back. But I told my wife, the next time I do this, we'll hike it in reverse, knock out the incline at the beginning, and then be able to walk downhill on Bote Mountain, and then save the bear encounter for last. But I don't know, it was just a creepy trail. I thought this one would be a lot more popular and well traveled, and I'm sure it is. It's the fact that I'm up here on a Sunday morning at 8:30. Most people are probably either in bed or on their way to church or on their way to Cades Cove and not really ready to hike. And plus, it's supposed to be overcast all day today. Kind of the remnants of Hurricane Ian that hit Florida and South Carolina and the East Coast pretty hard. So fortunately for us, the mountains block out a lot of that and shield us from a lot of the bad weather. But we did get a little rain yesterday, and I mean, this trail is pretty soggy, and but they're not really calling for rain. It's just supposed to be overcast. But here in the mountains, you just never know. You can have a shower pop up on you pretty quickly, but as long as it's just, you know, a mild rain and no thunder and lightning or major winds, we'll be okay. All right, so I'll catch back up in just a little bit, talking and climbing uphill. Oh, swearing on me. But as you can see, I'm still going uphill. So be prepared for that if you decide to hike this trail. I'm not gonna say that there is bear activity up here, but that definitely looks like where bear's been clawing at this tree. Looks like there's another one up here. Oh, and by the way, I'm still going uphill. Whew, hard to talk and breathe at the same time. So this one, I think actually looks like maybe the tree just fell, or they sawed it down. But that looks odd, doesn't it? With the bark gone here, but the rest of it is fully intact. So we'll keep our eyes open. Just a quick update. This trail does level out at some point. I don't know how long this is going to last, but I'm going to enjoy it. I was trying to slow down my pace a little bit. I was going way too fast, breathing heavy, and heart rate was definitely climbing. So trying to go a little slower, but feels like it's trying to sprinkle a little bit, which hopefully won't impact the video. Hope it doesn't get on the lens and mess that up. But yeah, I haven't seen anybody as of yet, and haven't seen any bears yet on the trail, so that's Well, good and bad. I want to see one. I just don't want to see it up close. But and the temperature today is not supposed to get very high. It's about 55 right now, so I've got long sleeves and pants on, which I'm still sweating, but I do feel like that hopefully here in the next few weeks as it starts to cool off, I'm looking forward to that weather, so maybe it's not as hot and humid as it has been. And also the leaves on all the trees should be changing here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully the video will start to look a little better as far as some bright colors. But as you can tell, it's just green and damp and cloudy today, so probably not that great of a video that'll show up when you watch it, but at least you'll know what this trail looks like. And one more note, I really would like to be able to look around more. That's why I've tried to slow my pace some, where I can look up into the woods and see if there's any animals, but very difficult to do on these trails because if you're not watching closely, you can slip on a root, because everything is slick today. The rocks and the tree roots, and even when it's dry, you can trip over something very easily or twist an ankle, which would be pretty bad up here. But yeah, I wish I could just look around a little bit more, but I think in order to do that I'd have to stop, and then I'd never make it to the end of this trail. But just something to keep in mind. Keep your eyes on the trail so that you don't hit some kind of a tripping hazard, especially when you're up here by yourself, which I do not recommend, by the way. But my wife really did not want to do this trail again, and I wanted to get it on video. But I did tell her where I was going and what time I was going to start the trail and the direction I was going to go and what time to pick me back up on our tracking. We've got Live 360, but there is no phone reception up here. No cell towers to give you service. So, I mean, I'm off the grid. I can't call anybody, and my location's not going to update. But when I get back down and get into the truck and drive back towards Townsend, it'll ping again and she'll know that I'm on my way. So she'll know if she hasn't seen anything within about 30 or 45 minutes of the time I told her expect me. You know, she can start either driving up here or making some phone calls to the ranger station. But hopefully that nothing bad happens. But again, I don't recommend doing a solo hike. I know a lot of people do, but especially if you're on one of these trails that goes for a while, and I mean, you're by yourself, and if it's not one that's heavily traveled, if you get injured, sprain an ankle, slide off the embankment, I mean, these are all things that are easy to do. But yeah, you'd either have to just wait for somebody to come up or try to make it back out the best you could. So just keep that in mind if you decide to go hiking. Well, if you've never heard the expression gully washer, that's something that we use a lot here in East Tennessee. But that's a gully. I don't know how well it shows up on video, but basically like a giant ditch, and it stays dry most of the time. And when we have a really hard thunderstorm, all of the leaves and debris get washed away, hence the name gully washer. So that means a heavy rainstorm. And I have talked to people up in the Northeast, and they look at me strange because they've never heard that terminology. Plus, I mean, I'm strange looking anyway, so. And my voice, you can tell. It's definitely a southern accent with a deep drawl, which people find either very soothing or very annoying, And I feel like it's on the second one of those because it annoys me. But I'm stuck with it. Anyway, I don't know if you can see that or not, but definitely where the water runs off down through here. But, that is a gully. So now you know. If you hear anybody say a gully washer, or if you are from some part of the country, or even in another country other than the U.S., I dare you to use that in a sentence when it's raining, just to see what people around you say, and get to see the look on their face, and then you can explain it. But anyway, I don't even know. I guess if you Google it, I don't know if it's in like Urban Dictionary or what, but probably not a real term. Just something else that we've made up here in the South. But there you go. There's some useless information for the day. I got loads of it, so I'll try to share more as I go along. I am still on Lead Cove Trail, and it continues to go uphill. And I know you can't see it on video, but there is some fog here in the background, which is where the Smoky Mountains gets its name, because they always look like they're on fire. And normally as the sun comes up later in the day, so around noon or so, that goes away, but early in the mornings there's a lot of it. But if you're ever curious why the Smoky Mountains were named for that, it's because they look like they're on fire and there's smoke in the air, but it's actually just either fog or a vapor that actually comes up from the trees, and it just typically shows up better in the early mornings, whereas when the sun gets high in the sky, that tends to dissipate. But I know you can't see it, but off in the distance, pretty foggy. Plus it gives me a chance to stop and catch my breath. Whew. Well, like I said, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the fog has definitely started to roll in over the past few minutes. I mean, I like it. I don't know if most people would or not, because visibility is starting to decrease. I'm on a trail by myself. I already saw 2 bears on the drive in, and I don't know, it just seems like something out of some kind of a horror movie in the making. But hopefully that won't be the case. Well, what do you know? I made it to the first intersection. So this is Lead Cove Trail, or Lead Cove. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing it incorrectly. But Lead Cove Trail to Bote Mountain. So there is a resting spot here. And let's see. I don't know if you can see that or not. Lead Cove Trail, Laurel Creek Road 1.8, Finley Cane 1.8. So basically saying if I go back down from where we started, I can start those other trails. And then this one says if I go to the Appalachia Trail, if I want to do that, the Appalachian Trail, it's another 2.9 miles that way. And then Finley Cane Trail is 2.5. That's where I'm headed. And what's that say? Anthem Creek Trail 1.2 that way. So anyway, this is where we came from. That's going up towards the Appalachian Trail, and this is the direction we're going, Bote Mountain. So just to give you an idea. Thought this would be a good stop here, kind of catch my breath and get something to drink. And I had to replace the battery in the GoPro. I burned through those pretty quick. Brought 4 with me, so I'm on my second one, so hopefully I'll have enough juice to get the rest of this trail. So like I said, Bote Mountain is this way, and then we'll hit Finley Cane on the way out. But here's the trail we just came up on. It is foggy. I'll try to get some footage. You really can't see anything from here because of the fog, but there's one spot up here that has a really good viewpoint, and I think when the leaves get off the trees, it'll be a spectacular view. But both times I've been up here, you know, it's been in either the spring or now the fall, and they haven't started to drop yet, so it's kind of hard to see, and the fog's not helping any. But try to get some footage, just see what it looks like. Yeah, this trail already is so much easier. It's been flat. Now we're starting to go downhill, so really hoping I made a good choice about trying to knock out the incline on the first portion up on Lead Cove Trail, and then take my time going downhill the rest of the way here on Bote Mountain. But the fog is definitely thick. My cap is wet, and just hoping this doesn't mess up the lens on it. I've been trying to wipe it off and keep it dry, but I can't really tell. I think I'm getting close to this viewpoint that I was talking about earlier. I mean, you can't really see anything but just the fog off in the distance. Super quiet. I can kind of hear some water, I think, way off in the distance. But, I mean, I haven't seen anybody or anything, which I guess is good. But, I mean, this is kind of what you're getting into. But I like the early morning hikes. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hit the back of the screen, but I mean, it's just fog. See the tree in front of us, and that's it. I can't see any farther than you can on the video. But yeah, this is definitely easier going downhill. As you can see, it looks like some of the trees are starting to change colors. But it's just in the very beginning phases. I think in about 2 or 3 more weeks, it's going to be really, really nice. I'm not sure what kind of flowers they are, but there's several of them down through here. I'm surprised they're still in bloom. Thought the cooler temperatures would start to knock them out, but there's still a few of them. Pretty nice. This is the spot that I was talking about, that normally I think you would have an exceptional view of the mountains. But as you can see, it is just fog. I literally can't see beyond that tree or kudzu. Can't see any better than you can. But I just remember this was the spot because this tree was across the trail, and had to cross over it, and then had a spectacular view. But not today. But that's alright. Maybe I'll come back up in the wintertime and try to get to that spot and see what the view actually looks like with all the leaves off of the trees. And another tree down up here. I don't know if this was here last time or if this is a new one. Definitely looks like the Park Service may have sprayed something on it to help knock down all the leaves so you didn't have to climb through something. But it wasn't too bad. Well, this is primarily what this section of Bote Mountain Trail looks like. I mean, pretty easy, flat, definitely wider than some of the trails. Really not much to look at. I still think, though, once the leaves are off the trees, I have so much better visibility. I just don't know if I'll be able to do this trail again this winter or not. So many other trails I haven't done yet. But, yeah, definitely a good choice, I think, knocking out the incline first part and then just being able to coast this way, this direction. This is the longest section, I think. It's like 2.5 miles. And hopefully that last stretch is better than I remember. But we'll find out here in a little bit. Actually going downhill, which is a nice change of pace. I think I spoke too soon. Starting to hit an incline. What's the phrase? Everything that goes up must come down. I think when you're in the mountains, everything goes down must go back up. It's not good, but still not too bad. Definitely easier than the first leg of the trail. Just eating my protein bar while I'm walking. Hopefully the scent of peanut butter and chocolate doesn't carry too far for the bears. But just wanted to show a little bit more of this trail. It's pretty nice compared to some of the other ones. You'll see when we get on this last leg what it looks like. Big difference. I don't know if you can hear that, but there was some knocking up in the woods. Trying to figure out what that was. It didn't sound like a woodpecker. I'm assuming it was some kind of a bird, but well, this part of the trail definitely got a little bit more narrow, but still pretty easy to navigate. Well, I finally passed somebody on this section of the trail, which was kind of nice, but I mean, I'm like halfway through the full triangle, and that is the only person I've seen so far. So at least there's one other crazy person out here this early in the morning hiking by themselves. Well, while going downhill is definitely easier as far as like I'm not sweating as much, I'm not having to breathe as hard, my heart rate's not as bad. It's definitely a lot harder on my knees, just the impact of like trying to put my brakes on all the time, and I tend to have a greater chance of either tripping or slipping when I'm going downhill, because I guess I'm using my back, like the back part of my heel, to plant first, versus like when I'm climbing up, I'm using my toes. So it's like I just can't plant my foot as well going downwards, and I don't know if you can see, but a lot of rocks on this trail, and hadn't slipped too much so far, thank goodness, but definitely could twist an ankle very easily. And like I said, it's a lot harder on my knees. That's what happens when you get old. So you young people, if you're wanting to hike, do it now, because when you get older, it only gets worse. But yeah, I just don't know why. Just there's the amount of exertion that I'm putting on my joints trying to go down these hills, but I can definitely feel it. So that's where I typically wear out the quickest, is on my knees. But anyway, not much exciting going on this trail, so I thought I'd film a little bit and talk to you some. But we'll catch back up here shortly. Well, you can see, like, I'm still going downhill, which is easier except for on my knees, but just imagine doing this in reverse and going back up, because that's the way we did this hike the first time, and man, it was exhausting. So I'll wait and give my final judgment until I'm done with the full trail. But as far as like putting a strain on my heart and my breathing and stuff, going downhill is definitely much easier. I'm not sweating, It's like I said earlier, it's cool. It's about 55 degrees, so and the sun's really not out because the clouds are blocking it. But yeah, if you decide to do this like triangle, I mean, I would recommend the way I've done it so far. It's coming in off of Lead Cove and then making a left onto Bote Mountain, going downhill. And then when we get down here in a little bit, I'll show you the sign where you cut off, but you make a left onto Finley Cane, and that'll take you back to where you started. But definitely recommend this direction so far, but I'll confirm that once I get to the end. We'll see how bad this last leg is. I remember I didn't care much for it, so we'll see if it's any different going in the opposite direction. Well, still on the Bote Mountain section, going downhill, and I kept thinking to myself, like, I can't wait to hike more this fall when it cools off. And I've been talking about the leaves changing colors, which will be a lot nicer, but I'm wondering, like, when the leaves start to fall off and it rains, man, some of these trails are going to be super slick. So I need to really invest in getting some hiking boots. I've still been using tennis shoes, which is not the smartest idea, but I just hadn't broken down to get like a nice pair of hiking boots. They're not cheap. I've seen them probably at about $150, and I just didn't know if I want to spend that kind of money on something that I'm only going to wear when I hike. But if I continue to do this, I think it's going to be a good investment. But the other thing is, even though I had that protein bar, I'm still getting a little hungry. I'm thinking about that chili that I made yesterday. There's only 3 of us. Me, my wife, and my son right now, but I made enough to feed about 12, so I had a bowl of chili for lunch, and I had a hot dog with chili for dinner, and when I get back, I'm probably going to have a bowl of chili for lunch again, and then probably baked potato with chili on it for dinner. So now that I've said it out loud, I sound like Bubba from Forrest Gump with fried shrimp, butterfly shrimp, shrimp jumbo. It's kind of what it sounds like. All the different ways I can eat that pot of chili, but I made enough to feed an army, so anyway. Felt like it was starting to turn fall. I mean, it is October the 2nd, but it's still been pretty warm considering. But the temperatures are starting to cool off a little bit. And fall is definitely my favorite time of the year. I love the cooler weather. I love Halloween, when the kids come by trick-or-treating. I love Thanksgiving for all the food and seeing family. And then Christmas right around the corner. Same thing, food, family, exchange a few gifts. And then New Year's, which my wife and I typically the past few years have been spent together. We go into Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area to ring in the new year. They typically have something going on up there. So, and when I say, I mean, we've been married now for 29 years, going on 30. But when I say spent the last few New Year's, typically we just stayed at home. That's what happens when you have kids. All your energy is depleted. You go to bed about 10, and you just wake up and it's a new year. But past 5 or 6 years, we've tried to do something a little different. Go up and celebrate with some fireworks and do the countdown and all that. So looking forward to that. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite time of year. But man, since I've been doing this little section of the video, I've almost twisted my ankle 2 or 3 times. That's what I'm saying. Going downhill is like just easier on the overall body, but man, my knees and my ankles are just paying the price. And I think maybe it's about time that I cough up the money to get some hiking boots. Maybe the cushion will help lessen the impact on my knees, and also it'll help me from twisting an ankle. But I mean, this particular trail, you can see it's rocky, and when it rains, it looks like all the water goes down through here. And ooh, there was another one, slid a little bit. Just be careful. I'm taking my time since I'm up here by myself. I definitely don't want to get hurt. But, yeah, just be careful when you come up here. Just so many things that can happen. Most people don't even think about the negative things. They only think about, hey, let's just go on a nice hike. Which, I mean, that's what you're supposed to, you know, you want to think about the positives, but be prepared for anything bad that could happen. Okay, I think we're here. Coming off Bote Mountain. Coming up to the sign here. Alright. Not sure if you can see that, but it says Bote Mountain Trail, West Prong Trail, 0.6 miles. Lead Cove is where we came from, so that's 2.5, and then you go up 5.4 to get up to the Appalachian Trail, which I have not done and I don't plan to do anytime soon. And then Finley Cane Trail, this direction is it looks like Laurel Creek Road. It says 2.8. Ugh, it's farther than I thought. Lead Cove Trail, 2.8. No, sorry. Laurel Creek Road and Lead Cove, that's where we just came from. So let's get back up there, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, this is the direction we need to go. Alright, so I'm gonna take a few minutes to rest here, but as I was saying, this is where we came down from. So that was Bote Mountain. Here's the sign. We're gonna go this way. That is Finley Cane Trail. That's the last leg of this particular triangle. But if you go down this direction, which I'm not going to, that actually takes you on down to, that is the Bote Mountain, part of the Bote Mountain Trail. But I did a video probably about 3 weeks ago, and it's Bote Mountain, and that's spelled B-O-T-E, Bote Mountain Trail to Campsite 18. And on that particular video, I hiked all the way up here to this point, just to kind of show you where this was at. So that's how you can kind of link those trails. So if you want to go back and see what that looks like on the Bote Mountain Trail to Campsite 18, you can see that, and it comes to this point. But now I'm going to change the GoPro battery before I head off, because I'm at about 25%, and we're going to go down Finley Cane, and that's where we saw a bear last time. And that's actually when I came in this morning. There was a young bear headed in that direction, so I don't know, fingers crossed. Try to get him on video. I doubt it, but we'll see. But I want to make sure I got plenty of juice in the GoPro before I head that way. So I will catch back up here in just a minute on this particular part of the trail. See ya. All right, here we go on Finley Cane Trail. Show you at least the start of it from this point. I mentioned, this is the trail that my wife and I did see a bear on the last time we did it. I mean, I've already seen two on the drive in, which I didn't. I tried to get them on video, but you're not gonna be able to see anything. I feel like I'm one of those people that try to put a video on when they get footage of either Bigfoot or UFO, and it looks like they're using a camera from the 1980s, and it's shaky and it's granular and you can't make out what it is. I feel like that's going to be the way. Anytime I see a bear, you're not going to be able to really see it. You're like, man, is this guy really seeing bears, or is he just telling us he's seeing them? But I did see them. I tried to get a picture, but they were too fast. I couldn't do it. But anyway, this is the trail that we did see a bear on, and I think that's kind of what spooked my wife from the very beginning. I think that's why she doesn't like this trail. Not to mention that it was, you know, I've done more trails since then, so they're becoming a lot more familiar to me. And but this one felt pretty isolated when we started it. It's a pretty long trail with, I mean, not seeing anybody. And we had done some trails before that there was, you know, well traveled and a lot of people. But this one was just really quiet. And seeing that bear like right, I mean, gosh, we hadn't been walking 15 or 20 minutes when we saw it, so that kind of spooked her. But you know, I enjoy seeing them as long as they don't get too close to me. But and also, I don't know if you can hear, it is raining now. Luckily, I'm underneath the tree cover, so I'm not getting wet. for the most part, but it went from just the dampness in the air from the fog to it is actually raining now. Just to kind of give you a view of this particular trail, I'm coming from that way, so I'm going back, but you know, kind of wide open in certain spots. But you just think that you just feel like you would see something. Like, where are the deer at? I guess maybe they're not so much in the woods as they are in like the fields, and you'd think you'd see some deer. Or I definitely haven't seen any people except for that one person, but I guess the weather right now, since it is raining, most people have decided, you know, they want to come up here and hike when it's nice, and I don't blame them. But yeah, this is about it. It's just walking in the woods. Well, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is still raining through the trees a little bit, which is very relaxing, honestly. But at the same time, typically when I walk and there's no noise, that gives me the ability to hear, like if there's, you know, crunching or something in the woods, like from a bear. So I'm not going to be able to hear that right now, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to be able to hear me either. So if for some reason we do see one, I think we're both going to surprise each other. But like I said, it's a nice change of pace here in the rainfall, but it definitely has taken away my ability to hear if anything is moving around next to me. I don't know if you can see them or not, but all these little white flowers still out too. Seems surprising, but I don't think they're going to be around much longer as the temperatures continue to fall. I feel like this was about the area we saw the bear last time. It's these kinds of trees here, maybe farther down. But it was definitely thick like this. Another area coming up here that looks like it might have been the same kinds of trees. This actually looks closer to what it was last time. Like I said, I don't expect to see anything, but I want to keep the camera rolling just in case. Because when I turn it on, it beeps. I don't want to scare it away. Maybe I do want to scare it away. I don't know. Yeah, I felt like this was the area when we first walked up on it. So I got to be getting close to the end of this trail. Just like I figured, a whole lot of nothing. Boo! Then all of a sudden, that's when you see the video. Like I'm getting mauled. No, I'm just kidding. Or I'm running away. Just see. What's happening? Well, nothing so far. I heard some other hikers a minute ago, but I haven't found them yet. But I did want to show this little water crossing here. Kind of a nice change of pace. Probably have to stop my video here very shortly in case I meet some other hikers, but I did want to show you that. Something a little different on this trail. I feel like I should be getting very close to the end. At least hopefully I am. Well, here's some more water. I completely forgot about this from last time, so this is pretty nice. A little stream here. Make sure I can cross without getting my feet wet. Not bad at all. But you're just thinking, man, there's got to be something in here. Did you hear that bird? Good timing. Oh, that was not added. Well, I wasn't 100% sure where to go when I come to this fork in the road, and it says Turkey Pen Ridge Trail, which is across the street from where I parked, so I thought I would go this direction, and this is what it took me to. Neat area I didn't know existed. But anyway, one of the bridges here. Some water flowing down. Just curious to see where this goes. So definitely not the way that I came in. There's the back side of it. I don't know, just pretty cool. Nice little surprise at the end. But to get back to my truck, I need to continue to the left. Civilization. You can probably hear the cars in the background. It is 11:55. I started around 8:30, so it took me roughly 3.5 hours to do 7 miles, which is what I had expected to do, and told my wife I'd probably be done around noon and we'll be headed out. So I'm right on schedule. Pan around for just a second. See some water. Forgot about this crossing. You can definitely see the traffic has picked up. People going in and out of Cades Cove. But pretty much back where I started. So I will end with the closing video coming up now. There you have it. Lead Cove to Bote Mountain to Finley Cane in the rain, 55 degrees, foggy, and hardly anybody else on the trail. So if that's what you want to see, this is definitely the video to watch. But I enjoyed it. Just wasn't a lot to see, but hopefully you at least get an idea of the trail. I think things would have looked a lot better if the sun had been out and it had been a nicer day, but I actually enjoyed it. The rain was very soothing. I didn't have to worry about any insects. I did see a few people here at the end of the trail, so a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people on the trail, but the last 7 here in just probably the, last 15 minutes of the walk. So anyway, I can hear some traffic off in the background, so I know I'm close, but just wanted to say thanks again for watching the videos. If you like it, please hit subscribe so when I put new videos out, you'll get a notification. But until then, we'll see you later. Thanks.